This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and today I'm honored to have a guy that's in two of my favorite movies of all time, Wayne's World and No Holds Barred. He was also in Ghostbusters 2, numerous television shows, also Scary Movie, of course, Supernatural and Psyche as well. None other than Kurt Fuller. How are you doing today, sir?
Very well, thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for
Now,
writing down my list of favorites.
well, it's funny because to me, as a wrestling fan and as a wrestler, I've seen No Holds Barred maybe 20 or 30 times from the time I was a kid. So you are like a superstar to somebody like me that grew up watching that movie.
Well, that is amazing to see No Holds Barred 30 times. That's the definition of a super fan.
Well, and I also interviewed Zeus, Tommy or Tiny
Oh,
Lister,
yeah,
before he passed away.
yeah. Oh,
And you worked with him. I know that.
I did. I liked him a lot. He was a good guy. He was funny. He was a real gentle giant and loved by a lot of people.
That was actually the WWE's very first movie that I think Vince McMahon helped fund. Now they have a whole WWE films division. I know the movie was a success at the time. Did the wrestlers treat you all right on the set? Because sometimes wrestlers tend to treat actors as outsiders.
Yeah. Well, I felt like an outsider, but that was my own feeling. Uh, I have to say, Hulk was actually fantastic, and we spent a lot of time just downtime. There's a lot of downtime when you're shooting, just shooting the breeze and um, just talking about life and about investing and how he makes money in the WWF. I found it all very interesting. And then when the other wrestlers would come on, I found them. They were all I have to say very nice to me because I was very low key, and also they liked that I was playing the heel. They would always say, "You're a good heel. You're a good heel." So I guess the fact that I was a heel was a good thing for them.
You are a good heel and you play heel in most of your movies.
I
And a
did for a
heel
long
is a
time,
bad guy,
right?
right?
Yeah, it was a good living.
Now, I understand you also appeared at a WWE event as that Brel character. How was that experience?
Okay, that was one of the weirdest for me. One of the weirdest experiences of my life because at that time, I don't know how they do it now, but they were so casual about it. They flew me in to Stanford. They had sort of a film premiere at a movie theater in Stanford, and then when people were coming out, they had Mean Gene Okerlund there, and they just said, "Go up to Gene and tell him how much you hated the movie because Rip won." I said, "Well, do you have any lines for me? Anything you want me to say?" "No, you can do it. You can do it." So this was one of my first jobs. I was in over my head already. And I just went up there and just started acting like Super Brell and just yelling, the Rip won. Juice won. Zeus won. Rip, this is a lie. The fix is in. This is horrible. Then there was a sweet little kid walking out of the theater, and they said, this kid didn't know what was going on. He was just there with his dad. They said, go steal that cookie from that kid and yell at him. I said, does he know I'm coming? They go, no, it'll be fine. I think I made him cry. I went up to him later after, and I said, Jesus, that was just, they were just crazy, these guys. I'd never done anything like it. And it's amazing that these wrestlers do that all the time. It's amazing, you know, I don't think everything, I think they all sort of have an idea. They all sort of know their storylines, but I think then they sort of improvise around it, and it's pretty amazing how good they are.
Yeah, now it's totally scripted and they have writers, but in the can you hear me now?
Yeah, but I think
Okay.
hold on, my mic has gone off, but I can fix that.
Oh, your mic is fine on this end.
Oh, it is. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, then forget it. If you
But
say you can,
now they actually have script writers, Hollywood writers, and the matches are totally scripted. Do you find it interesting that wrestlers aren't allowed to be part of the Screen Actors Guild, considering that now it's not improvised and they have to follow a script or they would get?
What? That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. I mean, extras are part of the Screen Actors Guild. Atmosphere, stand-ins. Why would wrestlers? That's something I didn't know. But that just, all I can say is typical.
They're also considered independent contractors, even though they're under very strict contracts. So it's a little blurry with wrestlers.
They got to get a lawyer, man. I mean, again, you know, it's a business. That's the other thing. I realize these guys, it's all a business, a big business, and they are the commodity, and I just can't believe that they have let that happen. They'd have to all walk out.
On to what you're on here promoting today.
Okay.
LegacyTheater.com, and it has a wrestling tie. And I understand you like doing plays. You consider it more real acting. Could you tell us about this play you're involved with?
Yeah. When I say real acting, it's that in movies and television, you act for about 20 seconds at a time. And it's sort of the editor and the camera and they can make whatever they want out of a performance. In fact, in a reality show, somebody could be sweet the whole time and they could turn them into the heel of the show just by the way they edit it. But on stage, you're in control for 2 hours. It's all yours. And I enjoy that very much. And right now at the Legacy Theater in Brantford, Connecticut, anybody who lives around Hartford or New Haven, we're doing Masters of Puppets, written by a very good playwright who wrote for the WWF for 8 years, knows everybody, knows how it works, and it's really a play just like the WWF. It's about sex, power, and money, and it's a play about really my marriage with my wife. I'm sure it's supposed to be thinly veiled Vince and his wife, but we're sort of taking the characters beyond that. I wouldn't pretend to imitate Vince McMahon or be Vince McMahon. He's just too. I can't do it. I couldn't even do his voice. I don't know. I couldn't last 5 minutes talking like Vince talks. But it's really about the world is sort of their marriage and their running and the fight for power of a wrestling federation behind the scenes. And there's wrestling in it. There's wrestlers in it. There's some very colorful characters. A lot of it is politically very incorrect. It's edgy and it's very, very funny. And I will say, we've had other people from wrestling come, and they say that they recognized their job in this play, and it rang true to them. And that's, I think that's high praise. And we generally get a standing ovation every night. A lot of wrestling fans come. So
how long is it going to be playing for?
Well, it's Thursdays, Fridays, twice on Saturday, and a Sunday matinee until June 11th. So it's this weekend and next weekend. And then I'm going back to LA where I live.
Then you'll, I guess, sign autographs and stuff for fans too at these events.
Yep. I do. I did a series also that's got a big audience called Psych. I did for many years on USA, and Psych fans, No Holds Barred fans, wrestling fans, any fan. I come out afterward, and I'll stay as long as there are people who want to talk to me. It's my pleasure.
I understand there was a lot of behind the scenes jokes and stuff played on Psych. Could you give an example of that?
There were, I know the one that I thought was dirty was Dule Hill, who played Gus on Psych. he would sleep whenever possible because he worked his ass off and he was doing a lot of things. And he fell asleep on set one day, and they just left him in the background sleeping while we shot the scene. And he's back there. He has no idea he was in the scene. He was
That's
asleep.
hilarious.
It was very funny. That kind of stuff. And Supernatural, the same thing. That happened all the time.
I understand one of your first movies was Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger. How was that?
Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, and Jesse Ventura was in that
too. Jess and Tanaka.
Pat Tanaka.
There were. Yeah. And Sven, Arnold's really good friend Sven, the big dude. I forget his last name, but he's Swedish, I think. And Jesse was there. Yeah, they were all there, and they talked about eating and weightlifting a lot, working out. They were always going to go work out and eat, and they laughed a lot. And I think we're really, really cut each other down all the time. It was pretty fun. It's pretty fun to listen to. They were vicious with each other. Vicious. The things they would call each other, but it was funny.
And they both ended up becoming governor. Is there any chance you're going to be running anytime soon?
No. Isn't that unbelievable? That's
it's amazing.
What are the odds? I actually never thought that, but no. What? No. Jesse Ventura. I mean, he's out there, man. He's a very interesting guy, but didn't seem like anybody who'd want to be a governor. But yeah, I really enjoyed that.
He just helped get pot legalized in Minnesota, where it's been legalized in California for a while. But I saw him at a political function with a fanny pack on, like a typical wrestler. Yeah,
we have fanny packs in Masters of Puppets. I will tell you that. That's funny.
As far as I heard you say in another interview that you went to Berkeley and in your younger days you did use pot, as a lot of actors and artists do. Would you ever have imagined that it'd be legal in so many places now, like Canada here? No. It's totally legal.
No, when I did it, although Berkeley was a very relaxed place, as you can imagine at that time, you went to jail. You went to jail if you were found with pot. You went to jail. I never would have imagined. I mean, I walked down walking down the streets of New York, Manhattan, where I do this series called Evil on Paramount Plus now. You get a contact high. I mean, it's the air is filled with. I mean, it's crazy. It's like they open the gates and everybody's out there smoking pot. I think it'll probably calm down after it's no longer like a fun toy. But never in a million years. Oh my God. I was so paranoid. It was almost not fun because I was so paranoid.
Yeah, I've experienced that side effect actually before too. That does ruin it if you overdose.
Yes. Oh yeah. And now, I mean, pot now, and I don't even smoke anymore. I'm too old, man. I don't. Berkeley, but it's so much stronger now. It's ridiculous. I mean, in the 70s, you'd had to smoke 2 joints to get high. I can't believe I'm talking about pot. I hope my kids don't see this. You'd have to smoke 2 joints to get high. And now 2 hits and I'm done. I can't even do it anymore. It's just so strong.
And
I'm a lightweight.
You were in a Woody Allen movie, A Night in Paris.
Midnight in Paris.
Midnight in Paris, that was nominated for several awards. Yeah. How was that experience?
Well, number one, that was a free trip to Paris. That's number one. And I took my family, and it was with Owen Wilson. I mean, just a lot of really, really good people. And working with him, you hardly ever saw him. He would stand back. They have monitors that you look through now. It's not, in case people don't know, they probably do know. You look at everything there's a video camera that shows everything. And he's in another room looking there. And sometimes you wouldn't see him all day. And then you'd hear, okay, everybody, that's a wrap. You can go. I never saw him. And sometimes he'd come out and talk. And I had a nice talk with him one day. He's a pretty shy guy. He's not very forthcoming. But I asked him if he would ever do stand-up again, and that seemed to spark his interest. And he said, well, yeah, but it's a lot of work to get an act together. People are expecting a lot at this point. But I have nothing but good experiences from that movie.
I understand that you just basically get a script with most of it redacted, so you don't really know the whole story going into it.
Well, I didn't audition for it. When I thought they'd made a mistake when they said he wanted me. I mean, Woody Allen, that was a big jump for me at the time. And somebody showed up at my door with a manila folder, and there were about 30 pages, and those pages were only the scenes I was in. And anything that was said to me was blacked out. All I saw was my own lines. I had no idea what anything was about. I didn't even know if I was playing a good guy or a bad guy, what kind of guy. And I read it, and of course I said, "Oh, I love it! I love it! Of course I'll do it! Oh my God, I'm so honored!" But I had no idea what I was getting into. Half the movie takes place in the past. It's a time travel thing. Owen Wilson goes back to the 1900s. You couldn't. Nobody had read the script. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Most people, I didn't even know that he went into the past. Nobody told me. I didn't know anything. All I ever got to see was my own scenes. No one ever gets a script. It's crazy. It's very weird. It's unlike anything else.
I've heard you say that Woody could be very politically incorrect. Is there any examples you could give of that without exposing him too much?
I don't honestly. I never said that. I may have said it, but no, I never heard him. I never heard him say that. I have to say, that's a lie. Or
Yeah, I
maybe
think it was on a podcast with the girl from the Ghostbusters,
really.
Ghostbusters 2, whose dad helped you get the Ghostbusters 2 job. I don't remember.
Oh, Ramus.
Yes. Yeah.
No, Ivan Reitman's daughter.
Yes. Maybe it
Oh,
was
yes.
maybe it was her that said it during
Maybe
that
she might
conversation,
know.
but it
She
came
might
out.
know. Okay.
But speaking of Ghostbusters 2, there's a lot of fans that have been asking about that. You were the mayor's assistant.
I was the mayor's assistant in Ghostbusters.
You had them thrown into the insane asylum. So how was that experience?
I did. That was again, until I did Ghostbusters 2, I was selling real estate in Los Angeles, trying to get my acting career going. And Harold Ramis came to see a play I was in, and had them bring me in for Ghostbusters 2. And unbelievably, I got the job. It was crazy. And all of a sudden, I'm there with guys who were my heroes. All those Saturday Night Live guys at that time. That was huge. Saturday Night Live was huge. It was like Succession for comedy at that time. And I was just in awe of these people, scared off. My ass was trembling the whole time I was there. I just kept expecting to get fired every day. I didn't, and they were so mellow and confident, and I was so. It was a real growing up. I really grew up as an actor, as a film actor, doing that, because I realized, it's not that big a deal. They don't think it's a big deal at all. They don't, when you're on a set, like now when I'm on a set, it's not exciting. It's just you do your job and you go home, but it makes you better because the camera catches everything. You don't have to do much. Whereas on stage, you have to do a lot.
Yeah, I heard you say you were told not to act so much when you did your audition for that because you were used to play acting.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, Ivan Reitman said, "Kurt, do less than you ever thought it was possible to do." I said, "What? I can't possibly be that. I can't." So I did it again. He goes, "Now even less, even less." And I guess I finally went down. I thought my lips were hardly moving. I was talking like this. I was supposedly getting mad. And he goes, "That's it." But it's amazing what you learn. The camera catches everything, everything.
How were Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray to work with?
Oh, fantastic. Although the first time I came on set, I was told that, it was my first day. If this goes well, you'll stay. If it doesn't go well, you're gone. How's that for my first big movie? How's that for, and so I went and I was, doing a scene where I yell at the Ghostbusters, And I did it, and I yelled at him, and I said, and I finished, and Bill said, so you're going to do it like that, huh? I thought, oh, fuck. I said, yeah, like that, or maybe a little less. He goes, okay, good. And so I knew that I was going to stay. But it was touch and go. It was scary. But then they would ask me out to lunch. They were very generous to me, you know. They were very nice, very friendly.
There's a fan on here that wants to know, how was your experience on Quantum Leap, and did you
Oh,
like
my
working with
God.
Scott Bakula?
Scott Bakula, he's the nicest. It's impossible to not like Scott Bakula. You know, we play in like these golf tournaments sometimes together and stuff. He's a great guy. And he's the kind of guy who pitches in and helps the crew move stuff. I mean, he's a real, just, you know, he's the least affected person you'd ever meet. He's just a great guy. I loved it.
Who's the biggest diva behind the scenes you've ever worked with,
Oh,
as far as male or female?
Oh, no. No. You know what? I'm going to tell you. I've got over 200 separate, some of them are series where I did 10 or 20.
Yeah.
200 separate things. I've worked with many, okay? Most people are really, really nice, okay? Tom Hanks, great guy. Robert De Niro, great guy. Jack Nicholson, who I did anger management with, fantastic guy, fantastic. It's usually, you know, like Saturday Night Live always talks about Steven Seagal as being just the worst. But it's usually people like that who are insecure and want to sort of, it's none of the big people, you know. Mike Myers on Wayne's World was great. Dana Carvey, Salt of the Earth. But the lesser ones who feel like, you know, they're not getting their due, those are the ones. Look at any of the smaller movies, it's those people. But I'm not gonna. Come on, you're not paying me enough.
Hey, I didn't expect you to, but it's worth a shot.
It's certainly good.
As far as Wayne's World goes, of course, it's part of the Saturday Night Live sketches.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to be somewhat of a hit and have somewhat of a following, but did you think it was going to be one of the biggest movies of that Saturday Night Live?
No, completely. You just can't tell. I mean, you really can't tell, because a lot of comedy is very technical. You know, it's not just, if you're making the crew laugh, you're probably doing it wrong. It's got to be small. It's got to be much more subtle than that. And so it was hard to know. I mean, I knew it was fun, and I knew those guys were super funny, and I knew it was a great skit, but a skit and a movie are two different things. And they pulled it together. No, it was shocking. I'm sure it shocked them too, to be that big. Absolutely.
Did you have a favorite scene from that movie that you were in?
That I was in? Yeah, I think when I count the guys down, there's something it just seems so funny when you go 5, 4, 3, and they go, oh. It made me laugh every time. A long time ago. You probably don't remember it.
Oh, I do remember. I actually just rewatched it a couple of days ago, and yeah, that is actually very useful in real life, even in wrestling production, to not say the two and the one. Right. So I finally get it now.
Who knew? Yeah, I know. I didn't. I learned it on that movie, so you know.
Jason says, in Miracle Mile, your freak out at the end of the movie was great.
Oh, thank you very much. That was Miracle Mile, which is about the end of the world. It ends with a nuclear holocaust, and it's with Anthony Edwards and Mayor Winningham. Another one of my very, very early movies where, again, but I was on top of Wild Side. Oh, my, Corbin Bernsen. Wild Side. Corbin Bernsen, okay. Thank you. Wild Side, wow. Wow, that really goes back. Oh, that goes way back. But thank you, Corbin. I was on top the roof of the California Federal Building, which is about 60 or 70 stories, at the top all day, pretending to be on 40 different drugs, drinking and having sex with a dead girl, and freaking out. And then I get nuked at the end. It was a very freeing experience. I will say that.
How
Elliot
was
Bogwarton. That's right, Corbin. That's who I played. It was with Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan and I, she was the editor of the newspaper, and I was her head writer on Wild Side before she did Top Gun.
you've been everything seemingly? Is there any actor that you've worked with that you've really been starstruck by more than the others?
Jack Nicholson. He's done so much. Very struck by him. I think the best experience I ever had, I did the movie Ray with Jamie Foxx, and he played Ray Charles. I played the head of ABC Records. It was the only time I've ever forgotten that I was in a movie. I literally thought I was sitting there talking to Ray Charles. It was the most transformative experience I've ever had. He was absolutely brilliant in that movie. And I think it's the one that I wish I'm always looking for. I'm always looking for that time when you forget there's cameras, there's people, there's lights, there's this, there's that. He was so good. It was because of him. He was so good. That was probably the best experience I've ever had on a set.
Was Adam Sandler around much during anger management in your scenes? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And he's a producer. He watches every scene. He's always watching for things. Very smart, very savvy, really knows what he's doing, and really a nice guy.
There's a lot of fans on here with the jock ass comments from No Holds Barred. Is there any particular line from anything you've been in that fans ask you to say the most?
Jock ass is one. Jock ass. Who? I don't even know what it is, but I can still say it like I said it.
It's the only time I've ever heard that line anywhere.
Somebody made it up, but
sounds like Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it's a jack. I guess it's a jackass who's a jock. That's a jockass. That's the only thing I can think of. And then a lot of people want me to say "I love you, man" from Wayne's World a lot. I love you, man. I love you, man. I get that a lot too.
Yeah, with the cameraman guy that kept telling you that he loved you, right?
Yes, exactly. And then also from Psych, people always used to say to me, because I play a coroner, and he's very odd. They would always go, "Hey," and my name was Woody. They'd go, "Stay creepy, Woody." So they always want me to do a cameo or something and go, "Stay creepy." Those are the three.
So for people that want to come see you in action live,
absolutely,
they can go to legacytheater.com and look for tickets. What's your name in this play?
Victor Cragston.
Victor Cragston.
The perfect kind of name, the head of the wrestling thing, the wrestling network, and my wife's name is Delia, and it's full of good performances. I got to tell you, you will have fun. I promise. I wouldn't be doing this. I get nothing out of this. I'm only doing it because I love it. Well,
I hope they bring you back for a manager before it's too late. Just
before I die. Yeah, I know. Really, they could kill me on. They could do a pie. They could find a way to off me. I'm sure they would love to.
And on Twitter, you're at the Kurt Fuller.
Fuller, yeah.
Is there anything else that people can follow you on?
I'm on Instagram as the Kurt Fuller too.
Well, I really appreciate your time.
I had a good time. Thank you very much. And goodbye. And thank you to anybody who is watching and listening.
Before we close off, do you mind plugging your play one time as Brel to shut this down?
All right. Now you listen to me. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a pussy. Go see Masters of Puppets at the Shut up! At the Legacy Theater in Brantford, Connecticut. LegacyTheater.com, you jackasses!
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos,